here we are installing a brand new door in a brand new garage with a brand new concrete floor. And the problem we're running into is this floor is sloped. According to code here in Louisville, the garage floor has to have a slope.
Using these concrete blocks, you can kind of see the slope he's talking about on this floor. You see we've got just a portion of the block showing here, but as you go further down, we get more and more of the block showing by the time you get to the front of the building.
Well, if I set that door on a slope, hinge side being on the right side here, that means that right side is lower than the left side. So if I set this door perfectly level, which is the way you would want to set it, if I set that door perfectly level, which it's level now, we'll show you. It's plumb, it's plumb. But what's going on is it's hitting that sill. That sill is sloped like that. The door's plumb, which means the strike side of it's going to be elevated up. So, two things we can do. We can lift up the hinge side so that the sill is level, and then set it all true and level and plumb and all that. The problem with that is now your sill isn't completely setting on the ground. It's not going to be able to be sealed, and it's not sitting flat on the concrete. And I'm using level and plumb and all that. I keep throwing it around interchangeably, and I'm sorry. Plumb is this way. Level is this way. The floor is not level. So if I try to set this door and then put it plumb and level, it's not gonna work. It's gonna be a trapezoid or something. I don't know, those of you that are much smarter and remember geometry better. So what I'm gonna end up having to do, I don't like leaving the sill unsupported, because I'm gonna have to pick it up on this side and then there'll be a gap, and I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather tweak the door just a little bit. I think that's what I'm gonna do, but we're gonna dive into this a little bit more. But I gotta get the door to work right. It's gotta be able to be square in that opening in order to work right.
Why don't you like the sill being off the ground with a gap on that one end?
Yeah, so it's not supported. So how many times do you walk through a doorway and then you step on the sill and then it just keeps separating it? I'm gonna check this. I may go that way because I might be able to on this door jamb. I might be able to still seal it. And if you look, this is an adjustable sill. That's what those plugs are for. It is an adjustable sill, so I should be able to do that. But what that means is I'll have to set the door, set it plumb and level, get it all square, and then I'll actually tap that sill down to where it'll sit flush on the concrete. So I'm going to check this out. I'm going to figure this out a little bit more and see which way we go. Another little tip for installing an exterior door if you're doing it. This is new construction, so it's pretty easy to do this, and remodels are a little bit tougher. I learned this from my buddy Tim Will up in Erie, Pennsylvania. Taught me to pull the weather strip out all the way around. You pull it all out and you look, I've only got one screw in here so far, but you put that screw in back here behind where the weather strip's gonna go. And it allows you that ability to adjust that door as we go. The other thing it allows me to do is well, this door won't close just yet because it's not set yet, but what it allows me to do is shut that door and check the reveal all the way around it. You want that reveal to be exactly the same all the way around the door. And without the weather strip, it just makes that easier to do.
The reveal being?
The reveal, and I can't shut this door just yet because it's not set. I've got to do this. The reveal is the gap between the frame and the door itself. So that should be equal all the way around this door. So we are pretty close to level right there. Actually, that hinge side is actually just a whisker high, and you can see the gap up underneath here. Now that's a small enough gap that I think I will separate that sill from the jamb just a little bit in order to seal it properly and make this door set truly plumb in this opening. That's not always the case. I've done some that are way out of whack, and we've just had to set the door to the opening. Sometimes you have to do that. They don't build them like they used to. All right, so this floor, luckily, I've got this sill sitting level, and I've got the door plumb, and looky there, it closes. And now I've got one screw in it right here. So the reveal that we were talking about a minute ago, now you can see it better. I want to make sure all that is even, and right there it looks like that one needs to come in just a little bit. So we'll use shims and screws and all that to get that where we want it. But the other thing, let's go on the outside here. The other thing that allows you to do is when you're setting the door, you want to make sure that, I'm going to hold this out of whack so you get the picture. Sometimes it'll hit at the bottom and there'll still be a gap at the top. Okay, that means your door frame is cattywampus. So
that's an official term, isn't it?
That's an official term from my dad. So, but you want to make sure that if it's hitting at the top, it's also hitting at the bottom. So, because you can move this so far, you can move this to where it is, and that way that door will seal. It'll it's going to work best that way. Like when you go to Lowe's, you pick up a door, you'll look on there, and it just made me think when you're down there. Now this is a Therma-Tru. What's it say? It says LH, left hand, and it's 36-inch door. A 36-inch door, you want 2 inches oversized. So if you're hanging a 36-inch door, you need a 38-inch rough opening. If you've got a 34-inch rough opening, you can put a 32-inch door in there. So 2 inches for your rough opening, number one. Number two, how do you determine left hand or right hand? Well, some people say if you walk up, you grab it with a handle, that's garbage. But anyways, how I learned it, and it always made sense, is if you put your back to the hinge, which way does the door go? This is a left-hand door, this would be a right-hand door. So back to the hinge, which way does the door swing? That's whether it's left hand or right hand. So works for interior, exterior, all that. All the same.
So oversized by 2 inches.
Yep.
Why? Why do you need 2 inches of gap between the jamb and the framing?
Because you have the jamb. So the jambs are generally 3/4 of an inch wide. So 3/4 and 3/4 is 1.5 inches. And then that leaves you a 1/4 inch on each side for framing that, or not for framing, I'm sorry, for shimming, for truing that door up in that opening. So also a door, generally a door is 6'8", it's 80 inches. Generally you're gonna want it 81 5/8 to 82.5 inch opening to set an exterior door in. So that's just going to be, typically, you can always frame it down a little easier than you can make it bigger. So we go for like an 82-inch opening. So, yeah. That's
so
that.
You said 36 plus the jamb. So that 36 is the slab, not the whole door.
Yes, exactly. This is a 36-inch door. So 36 inches, or 36 is the door itself. And that's going to be true on interior, exterior, any of that. That's the, when they say it's a 36-inch door.
They're talking about the slab.
The slab, exactly, yep. Now we can talk about double doors and all that, and that's going to be a whole different animal. But yeah, so on a 36-inch door, you want a 38-inch opening. So 38 by 82 on this particular one. The other thing, most exterior door manufacturers will leave you space to put longer screws in the hinges. These screws that I put in here are in addition to those, just as a precaution. It's probably overkill, but I'd rather do it that way. Rather be a little overkill than under. Other thing to keep in mind is some of the most important parts on this door when you are fastened is this right here, because if for security purposes, if somebody's going to kick it in, it's usually just going to split this part out right here. So when you put your deadbolt in, you want to make sure you use the long screws that they give you for the deadbolt, and that takes it into the framing and therefore helps in that scenario if somebody's trying to kick your door in. Hopefully it never happens to you, but that's what those long screws are for. They're for the deadbolt, not necessarily the latch, but you want to make sure you use those. Now this particular door through Therma-Through has a steel galvanized plate on the back side here that helps out with that. So our screws are going to go through that. There's actually screws back in here into the main frame that is going to keep that thing from blowing out if that was ever going to happen. So a little bit more added security. I talked about a minute ago, if this door is not actually true, and you can see that's hitting up here right now and it's not down at the bottom. So one little trick you can do is you want to separate this brick mold from this, and you can fill that in with caulking, or actually in this scenario is going to be wrapped in aluminum, so it's going to hide it there. But this can't go in anymore, but we want this thing tight. You can see it's tight up here. It's not tight down there. So what we're going to do is separate that a little bit. I got a block of wood. You can see the gap there, which you're probably saying, why would you do that? But now we're touching there. And we're touching there. Now I'll make sure this is straight all the way up, because probably I got to take it and smack it in a little bit here too. And I might be able to come out a little bit there. But anyways, block of wood, don't hit the brick mold, don't hit the door jamb, especially if you're using a framing hammer. They tend to leave marks that don't come out with the trim. Alright, so it's not a perfect science. Sometimes you do one thing and it affects something else that you're not even thinking about. This particular door, when we got it in, and I came down here, this bottom actually hooked in a little bit. And when I was talking about the reveal was really good all the way down until it got down to the bottom. So I persuaded it out a little bit at the bottom. And now I'm just redoing the shim here and just trying to make sure that we're still straight where we want to be. All right, so what I got is now as things go together, sometimes your screws draw it tight one way or the other. And if you look, remember I said you want to reveal right? We're a little bit tight here versus over here. So I want to bring that door back this way. I checked the plumb, it doesn't need to come back that way. So I'm going to bring this over. The other thing you'll notice is we walked out without all our shims, so we're trying to do this with very minimal shims today. Exciting. So cardboard is wood, or
in a farm.
yeah. When you're pulling this weather strip out, make sure you get a good grasp on it and start at the top or the bottom, because that little barb area there will catch sometimes. Sometimes it's actually up into this and it's pinched and stapled, so just be very careful. If that's the case, start from the other end and get it out of there. Let's put it back in. And all the screws are covered. Now we've got to get a couple, they normally send screws to these, but this one didn't have it, so we're gonna replace those screws. I actually like them in this hole, not this hole, because this hole is too close to the edge of the framing. So I'll switch it out and put it in this hole. It just gets it more into the meat of the framing. So I would recommend all yours that go into the framing are in this inner screw.
You mean in the long screws?
Oh,
Swap your
sorry.
long
Yeah,
screw
yeah.
for this short screw
Yeah,
that's already
and that's
there.
what I had to do here. This one was open, but I like it better in the, and that was just one I had. So in my plethora of screws, I may have another one that I can use.
We'll check back in with you later.
Oh, there's one right there. Look at that, there's two more. But whoever does it later and I put a Torx bit in there is gonna hate life. So I might not do that. But I might.
Why? Just because?
Yeah, so if you're doing a project, you want to have one consistent screw, a Phillips bit or a Torx bit or something. You want the consistency. But
So it's not that it changes anything. It's just less convenient to the next guy to have to switch back and forth.
yep. But who knows? I may have the abyss of my belt. So, anyways, that's what I'm. If we're going to use one of these to do that, better make sure you have throttle control. Don't just pull it and let her fly. So, now that's not the deadbolt. That's my first time closing it, but you can see it's sealed nice, it pushed in, closed nice and solid. Weather strip is in. The reveal looks pretty good all the way around. I don't have this adjusted yet. Oh, I went through that time, but I got that to do yet. Long screw all the way into the jam.
Straight into that stud.
Some may question whether to use expanding foam around these doors and windows and stuff. I like it just because it seals up so well, but you've just got to be very, very careful in the quantity that you use. Keeping in mind that it continues to expand for some of it for 30 minutes. So if you're gonna do it, put it in there and walk away and leave it alone, and don't put a big long stream of it in there. Do a quick run through there, let it expand, let it do its thing, and then get out of there. Let it set.
You can buy different expansion
There's
volumes too.
Yeah, exactly. Great point. They do have some that's designed for windows and doors that's low expanding, and I haven't used it. I use the old stuff because I'm cheap and I want to maximize the amount that I get. But that is probably your best bet, is to use that low expanding foam, and it does the same thing as it seals it up.
What's the danger of putting too much foam around a door or even a window? What happens? Why bring this up?
Right. So those particular windows in this garage are stationary, so it's not really going to affect those too much. What it's going to do is it can move that frame in so much so that this door now that you've got it nice and working properly and opening and closing properly without rubbing anywhere, if you put too much of that foam in there, it can actually bow that frame in and make it so that door rubs or whatever that hadn't done it before you put that foam in there. And especially with a double hung window that go up and down, if you put too much in there, it'll bow that that center section where the two windows come together, that's the weakest part of that window. So it's really easy for that stuff to push that frame in together to where that window then won't go up and down. And I've had it happen to me, and you got to take a Sawzall down and cut that open, cut it out, take it all out, or cut it out and kind of cut relief cuts in it. So been there, done that.
Gotta watch out for the window weights though, right?
Well, on the old, on the old windows, the window weights, the ropes that go up, they're usually in a confined in the jamb itself, so they're usually not too bad to worry about. But yeah, you can flex a window or a door with that spray foam. So that's why I say put a line in there, move swiftly, consistently, and get it in there, and then do it again if you need to.
How do they say it? Follow the instructions on the bottle.
Yeah.
Follow the label instructions.
Yeah.
They'll tell you how.
So there it is. It is in. Now it takes a good little bit, even that, what did it take me? Well, we kept stopping to do these things. But don't try to rush through it. Make it a good quality project so that it works, closes, opens. You'll be glad you did. I actually had to have a door manufacturer come out years and years and years ago. Could not figure out what was going on with the door. And here it was that it was the subfloor had come together underneath the center of the door, and I didn't realize it. The finished floor was in and everything, but it had humped up the center sill and was jamming everything up so the door wouldn't work right. So didn't realize it until, I think they came out twice, and we finally figured out that was what the problem was. So I like doing doors, I enjoy them, and a job well done is kind of rewarding for me. To see a door that opens and closes properly and latches properly and seals properly. And one thing I do is I like to do, when you do a deadbolt, I like to do it so you've got to have a little bit of pressure against that door to latch in. So like right there. And it just helps seal that. I'm from Pennsylvania, and we deal with cold and snow and blowing snow and drafts. And so I like to seal them up as best I can. So that's just one thing that I do. Don't know whether it's right or wrong, but that's how we do it. Throw questions in the comments. If you got questions, we'd love to do things that are relevant to you and help you out. And
we can help you troubleshoot your doors.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching. We got a new door in that now just needs paint and wrap. One thing we didn't show you, after setting this door true in this frame, we did have that bit of a gap there that we'll correct on this particular one. We'll correct when we wrap it in aluminum. But anyways, looky there. Closes nice and smooth, opens nice and smooth, sealed all the way around, even all the way around. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful. See you soon. So one other thing our
film crew is in here to give you water today.
Yeah, really.